With us now to discuss what comes next is trial attorney Rich Schoenstein. Rich, nice to see you again. Welcome back.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Sources tell NewsNation Robinson confessed to his father, who then told him to turn himself in. How likely is that confession to hold up in court?
I see no reason that confession would be excluded in court, assuming the father is going to testify about it. There's no privilege for father and son communications. It wouldn't qualify as hearsay because it's a statement against self-interest by the defendant. So there's no legal reason to exclude that confession if the father is willing to testify about it in court.
So we know the impending indictment is for state charges at this time. How likely is it that federal charges could be filed, if at all?
I think there's a pretty good chance that federal charges would also be filed. We've seen that in some prominent cases where there are possible state and federal charges. This crime doesn't cross interstate borders at all. It's solely within the state of Utah. It's more naturally a state case, and the state seems to be taking charge of it for the time being. I think it's proceeding, the charging affidavit was a state document, and I think it's proceeding in state court next week, but it could also be a federal case.
Rich, you have experience as a trial attorney on both state and federal levels. If you were his defense attorney, what would your priority be right now?
Well, my priority as the defense attorney, assuming we don't have a defense, and by the way, it's still America. He's still innocent until proven guilty. So we're taking a lot of information that we're getting and making assumptions about it. But assuming a lot of that is true, my priority as a defense attorney would be trying to prevent him from getting the death penalty. And my priority would be doing that either by bargaining, for example, negotiating a resolution where he pleads guilty to the charges in exchange for taking death penalty off the table, like we saw recently with Brian Kohberger in Idaho, that kind of deal. Or if the government is unwilling to do that, as it might be in this case, preparing for trial in a manner that focuses on avoiding the death penalty.
We're seeing the suspect run across the roof. That's the images we're showing our viewers right now. In addition to the confession, authorities recovered a firearm during the manhunt as well. There's also video footage of Robinson scaling a building. That's the video I believe we're showing now. Assuming this confession holds up in court, Rich, talk about whether you would want this case to even go to trial.
No, I mean, the evidence does seem overwhelming, right? We have video of him, of what appears to be him approaching the scene and then fleeing the scene. I don't know what the forensic evidence is going to reveal, if they're going to be able to match this palm imprint by way of example, if there's going to be fingerprints on the gun, if there's going to be other forensic evidence that ties him to the scene. I don't know what kind of evidence they're going to dig out of his computer, out of his social media participation, his commentary that may provide some kind of motive for this crime. But it does look like it's going to be pretty overwhelming. And of course, in this case, because of how high profile it is, no one's going to spare any expense in tracking down every piece of inculpatory evidence they can possibly come up with.
You mentioned if you were his defense attorney, you would try to avoid the death penalty. Both the president and Utah's governor are calling for the death penalty in this case. What is the strategy for the defense here?
So the defense penalty in Utah state court, by the way, it has to be recommended by a unanimous vote of the jury. So your strategy is to convince at least one juror not to recommend the death penalty. And the death penalty comes down to whether there are aggravating and mitigating factors. And the big aggravating factor here is that it's a horrible premeditated crime, and also that he fired a gun into a crowd and easily could have hurt or killed others. Those are aggravating factors. A mitigating factor would be, I've been thinking about this idea that he was egged on to do it by language, by left-wing politics, by what people said about Charlie Kirk. Maybe a lawyer could fashion that into some kind of mitigating factor. If you really believe in your heart that this murder is a result of radical left-wing politics, then how can you seek the death penalty for this person,
Hmm.
right? That would be a potential argument a lawyer might make.
Rich, this is such a high profile case. We know the Kirk family, Charlie Kirk in specific, is friends or was friends with the Trump family. Talk about the concerns in keeping the client, the suspect, safe and make sure justice is ultimately served.
Yeah, look, prison is not safe. Prison is a horrible place to be. It's a dangerous place to be. And this person is at risk in a high security prison with prisoners, many of whom, probably don't share whatever his viewpoint was that led to this. So that's going to be a challenge for the authorities wherever he is held to get him somewhere where he can be safe. I think it's going to be quite a challenge.
Rich Schoenstein, really appreciate your analysis this morning. Thank you for coming on.